Hey everybody, welcome back to FreepCast. My name is Rob Murray. I'm a reporter here in case you didn't know that. And I'm with the big man here, Joe Spear, managing editor of the Free Press. Joe, do you have a cat at home?
I do.
You need any more cats? Do you need a new one?
No, we don't. Our cat, we tried, our cat Boomer, we tried to have two cats, and he was so aggressive.
Didn't work out.
No, and we had to give the cat to our daughter. He is just not. We used to have cats. Always had two. Usually have two. You can have two. They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
They have fun with each other. But this cat will not be friends with another cat.
Mm. Well, I almost bought a cat the other day when I was out at Benches doing the article we had about the feline flood, as we said in our headline. So many cats at Benches right now that need a place to go, need a home, a good home.
Too many cats.
Yeah, this is what happens every spring. The cats just make more cats, and a lot of them end up. Some folks adopt cats and they realize they don't want them, and they end up back at the shelter. And cats have more cats, and folks don't want more cats, and so they end up at the shelter. And so at the moment, there's a lot of cats right now at the Blue Earth Mankato County Humane Society.
There's not quite millions of cats. That was that book, right, by Wanda Gog. Out in New Ulm, Millions of Cats.
Okay.
It's a great little book. But the normal number of cats, I was reading an article, 30.
Mm-hmm.
Right now they have 64, and the capacity is 80.
Yeah, they're almost at capacity, and I mean, they might be by now.
Yeah. And this one kind of struck me. They're 45 deep in cat surrenders.
Yes.
Cat surrender is people who no longer want their cat, and they're trying to get rid of it humanely.
Yep, and oftentimes this is somebody who's moving and they can't bring the cat with them. And also it's people who got a COVID pet and then realize they don't want the pet anymore, and they do the right thing by going back to the shelter and giving it up. So,
and then there's the question of outdoor cats versus indoor cats. Our cat is an indoor cat, but a lot of people, don't.
Just let them roam.
Yeah, let them roam. And we have, I live kind of in a rural area, and we have a few neighbors who feed, stray cats,
mm-hmm.
and even built like warming places for them in the winter, but they're outside all the time. And they're predators. A lot of the neighbors like them because they take care of ground squirrels and mice and a lot of stuff like that. But
they also kill a lot of songbirds.
Yes.
And if you have a neighbor with 5 outdoor cats, they will use your yard as a toilet. So
yeah,
that's what's happening at our place. I love the cats. Don't get me wrong. I could use a little less of the waste matter.
But it was good to see Benches, kind of back in management mode. It sounds like a lot of positive things are happening there with the management and getting more volunteers and getting more people on. And the new executive director, Dee Dee,
yeah, she seems to be really. She's got it together. She seems like she really has a plan to take Benches in a positive direction. And they brought back Terry, who when we got our first rescue from Benches, the yellow lab who destroyed our house, sister Terry was the one who was there to give us the dog, and I've known her for a long time, and she's fantastic.
Well, and
she's back.
Yeah, and we talked to John Brady, who was in charge of it here last winter, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And now Shannon Sinning of school board fame is board chair now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to Shannon for taking on a lot of different nonprofit things in town and being a leader on it. So it's good to see.
How does he have time for all that? I mean,
Boy, I don't know. He's involved in the arts. He must be
sure
on
is.
Several boards. Some people, the busier they are, the more they get done, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, good story. Sunday story on paid family leave by Holly Marie Moore, thing that is happening at the legislature. They approved family paid leave where the employee pay, I think it's a 1% tax or something each, and then it funds this program where people can have paid time off. Where they wouldn't normally have it for a lot of small employers. And so this, it's been a year, and the small employers are a little worried they're not going to be able to afford it. It's not going to work well. And so there's talk about, slowing it down or making some employers exempt. So she had a good story if you want to catch up on that whole paid leave issue. She had both sides and what they're thinking about. But there are other states that have paid leave, and I don't know. I know people personally who work for small businesses that don't always get leave or sick time, and it's tough. It's tough. So I kind of feel like that's going to be helpful for some employees.
Is that just for full-time employees, or does...
Actually, some of it applies to part-timers as well. I mean, the sick leave, which kicked in a year ago, part-timers are eligible for that. So many hours for every hour they work.
I always think about restaurant workers in these cases who, if they don't go to work, they don't pay their bills.
Exactly.
And it would be nice to
have a break.
Give them a break.
And be able to stay home when you're sick.
Yeah.
So you don't get other people sick. Medicaid cuts. Today, Senator Klobuchar was in town to talk about that. That's getting a lot of air. And we did a big story last Friday, Brian Arla, where many groups, it was an impressive group of people because they had doctors, they had human service leaders, they had families come and talk about Medicaid, which we know is basically a program that helps you pay your medical bills for you or your disabled children, and it's income based. So, but it's a huge cost, and one of the things is we have so many people who need it, and that's why it costs so much. And so there's a plan at the federal government where it's getting a little muddy because some people are saying, well, we're not cutting Medicaid, we're going to keep it, we're just going to get rid of the waste and abuse and fraud, and I guess that's all fine. But Klobuchar and others are saying the budget limit they've put on that whole program, which includes other programs, that whole department, is so high that there would be no way not to cut benefits of Medicaid. Yeah. So there's kind of a little smoke and mirrors going on there. But you're realizing, and it's courageous, and we thank them for coming forward and telling their story. A couple of families who have disabled kids showed up and talked about it, and some families have. I think the one example was this family had daughter has Rett syndrome, and they need 24/7 monitoring. I mean, so how do you go to work if your parent's doing that? You don't. So they get help from Medicaid.
I think that issue is going to be a big one. Have you seen any of the rallies, the Bernie Sanders and AOC?
I have seen a few snippets.
I watched one last night from Montana, and they got, 8,000 people.
Wow.
In Montana.
Yeah.
And it's mostly about Medicaid cuts.
Yeah. Well, Senator Klobuchar was here today saying 22% of people in rural areas are affected by Medicaid. I mean, that's a huge number. And Medicaid cuts. And this is, this is not pie in the sky, luxury treatments. This is basic care that everybody needs to kind of stay alive.
And a lot of people in red states.
Yes. Rural areas are traditionally a lot of Medicare, a lot of Medicaid, because it's older population, it's poorer population. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be a huge issue in the election, and hopefully it's one that it looks like a lot of good information is getting out there. People are raising the issue. Regular people are talking about it. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the last time, they had this diverse a group of people like last Friday. Like the head doctor at the Children's Gillette Center at Mankato Clinic was there. And I know Katie Smentek, who's a well-known pediatrician in town, also wrote a letter to the editor, and she's advocating in her organizations for this kind of thing. So there's a very diverse group of people behind it. And we, of course, like to write about it and let people know about it. And we have also written opinion pieces about it as well. So I think it's going to be a big issue. On the lighter side, flag football. Girls flag football, right?
Yeah.
Waterville's.
Some great photos by Casey,
Waterville's going to have
producer here behind the camera.
Waterville, it's kind of fun. Something new for a high school sport. We're also covering the growing popularity, we haven't done the story yet, of clay target shooting, trap shooting, high school.
We had one story about a year ago, didn't we?
Yeah, and we're going to do another story.
Okay, good.
Casey was out there, shooting the trap shooters. So that should be cool. What else do we have to talk about? Sports is kind of done. Although it was interesting to see Western Michigan, right? Won it all.
Western Michigan, the
The
team
that we lost to 2-1 in
barely,
double overtime.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Man. I mean, that's the one little, what would you call, I guess, saving grace, I guess, or something, some kind of
Kudo.
what's the word you're going to use when it sucks, but it sucks a little bit less when the team you
Silver
lost
lining.
to. Silver lining. That's the one. The team you lost to went all the way to win the championship.
Yeah, that is cool.
A little bit of a silver lining.
I don't know how we're going to do next year. I think we lost a few key players. The guys signed a few pro contracts on the farm teams.
We'll have the goalie still.
We'll have the goalie. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't win the Richter Award. Some other guy who had a worse goals against and a worse save percentage. They probably did it like they did that one time with Dryden McKay. He didn't face that many shots, or they weren't tough. They always making some kind of.
I think it's a bias against the strength of the league.
Probably.
Hockey East is always pretty strong, and our league is not as strong.
Yeah.
At the moment, so.
I want to quickly mention our sponsor here because we haven't done that yet.
Forgot the sponsor.
But this podcast is sponsored by Minnesota Valley Federal Credit Union, happily serving those who live, work, and do business in Blue Earth, Nicollet, LeSueur, Waseca, Brown, or Watonwan counties since 1934. We appreciate them. I do have my quote of the week, so we're ready for that.
Let's hear it.
This is from the thing we covered. I talked about Medicaid and families talking about Medicaid. And so this is from Jason Bennett, the father of one of these kids who has Rett syndrome. And he says there's a perception of Medicaid recipients being takers who don't work. And it said, but that funds actually keep him and his wife in the workplace. Quote, he says, "I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to be Ashlyn's nurse or Ashlyn's doctor," he said. "I want to be her dad. And the only way right now that we can ensure that is through the assistance we get through Medicaid." Thank you for that, Jason, and thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks.